And we are live for the 18th episode of the Bronx Bomber Babble podcast. I'm your host, Luigi. And tonight I'm with Ryan, the main man at the BBB, the boss. How you doing, Ryan?
Doing pretty good, Luigi. I'm glad you knew it was the 18th podcast because honestly, I would have had no idea what number it was.
Yeah. No, I always have to check. I always have to be looking at the bottom right to see the number. But it's a good day. It's a good day because the Yankees. We're recording this Monday night. Yankees just beat the Philadelphia Phillies 4-2. Got a little interesting at the end. Chappie allowing his first homer of the year, but nevertheless, the Yankees ended their skid that sadly happened against Tampa, which, we'll talk about that weekend series a little bit, talk about some of the main storylines, which I think all of you know what those main storylines are, involving a certain left-handed relief pitcher. But yeah, Ryan, let's get right into it. Before we're going to talk about Johnny Lasagna's performance tonight. We're going to talk about Gary's injury. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but why is Chase and Shreve on the Yankees still?
I mean, I've seen a lot of Twitter speculation that he may have something that could blackmail Booner Cashman. And honestly, at this point, it's looking like that has to be the case because he's honestly providing nothing of value. He had a pretty good – I actually wrote about him in an article I think I posted one night ago. It was Yankees have two long overdue roster moves. And, of course, I touch on Shreve along with Walker, which we will discuss later. But at this point, it appears the Yankees only have Shreve in the bullpen just because he throws with his left arm. I mean, he had a pretty nice April, only allowed one earned run, but ever since then, he's been pretty bad. I have written in here that he's allowed 100% of inherited runners to score since May 23rd. So if you put him in with someone on base, they're going to score by that stat. ERA of 10.13, and he's the lefty specialist, yet his OPS against left-handers is 200 points higher than his against right-handers and only like 20 less at bats. So at this point, he has absolutely no value. He's got a negative WAR, so you could pull up any kid from Scranton. By the ways of WAR, they should be doing better than Shreve is. So
1.65 WHIP for the year. And look, we've heard that about Shreve. It seems like since he came up in 14, 15. That look, he's not that good against lefties. He's a lefty, but he's not exactly a lefty specialist. We've heard that a million times, and it's just so frustrating that if this guy was I know it's almost dumb to say, but if this guy was a right-handed pitcher, he's off the team. Like, he's stayed on the team this long because he's a lefty, and I was so surprised to see that he was just still on the team, he was still on that roster in Philadelphia before the game because. How is this guy still on the squad?
Did you see the fake report by the Yankees? Yeah, I woke up and saw that, and I was totally tricked, honestly. I had texts from 3 or 4 different people.
Apparently, quick note, apparently Scranton, that same account tweeted some other roster moves. Somebody went to AAA, and the Scranton Twitter retweeted it and got fooled.
Yeah, I know.
Quickly retrace their steps. But, yeah, I mean, Chase and Shreve, just really bad. I forget whether it was Friday or Saturday he came in and was also awful.
That was Friday. It was Friday. Yeah, they probably wouldn't have pitched on Sunday.
Yeah, but he just – I'm lost for words. The fact that the bullpen on Sunday, 8 no-hit innings. I mean, it was just everyone's just coming in, mowing the Rays down, no issues, just easy going. We'll talk about the speaker catastrophe with Clint, and we'll talk about that next. But, I mean, just the fact that he comes in and just throws one pitch and the game's over. I mean, look, you never want to see the Yankees lose games. You never want, I'm glad they lost that game. But if that what was needed to happen in order for Chase and Shreve to just get DFA'd in order for him to just be sent to Boone's doghouse, then fine. Then whatever. I guess it was worth it. But, oh, my God, that was just brutal.
Yeah, man.
Because the moment you saw him out on that mound, you just kind of started having that feeling in your stomach. And, yeah, a low to mid-90s fastball right down the middle from a lefty doesn't really play.
I think Shreve said after the game, he was like, I thought I could sneak that by Bowers. I just missed my spot. And then he said, and I quote, if I didn't miss my spot, we wouldn't probably be here right now talking about this. Like, no crap, Shreve. I mean, obviously, but I mean, I agree, man. Jonathan Holder has a batting average against for lefties. That's like I think in the 100s, if not low 200s. I'd have to double check, but I don't understand.
I take back everything bad I've ever said about Jonathan.
Me too, man. But I honestly don't understand this obsession with the lefty specialist having to throw with your left arm. Like Jonathan Holder obviously holds. I mean, he's held everybody pretty good, but he's held lefties to a lower average than righties because of like his changeup and the way it moves away from the lefties. But so I don't really understand why. I really don't get why Shreve's here, like you said, other than his left arm. And I was telling Luigi before the podcast even started, I was just getting home from work, just turned on the game. I knew it was an extra innings, but didn't even see who was pitching. I just see Jake Bowers hit a ball in center field in the Rays, announcer going bananas, and then I see Shreve walk off the mound, and it wasn't surprising in the slightest.
Poetic justice. That's what that is. Let's enough about Chase and Shreve. Wrap it up with the fact that he really shouldn't be on the team. I don't think he has any options left. I mean, because
he's out.
Yeah, he's been up and down.
So they would have to DFA him if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean that should be the next step. I mean, they need to. I mean, look, they need to find it because at this point, like he's not a lefty specialist. So I'm not even gonna say you need to find a better lefty specialist. You literally need to find a lefty specialist.
Exactly. I said in my article that I posted, I said, if he's not a lefty specialist, then what's the point of having him in the bullpen? If you want to find a lefty specialist, you should at least put someone that's not going to allow up 5 runs in a span of a couple outings, at least as like a stopgap until you can find that man. Because at this point, he's not serving that purpose whatsoever.
No, he's not. Yeah, so Chase and Shreve, very bad. Well, Chase and Shreve, we might not even be talking about Chase and Shreve giving up the walk-off homer if Tropicana Field wasn't such a dump.
Normal baseball park.
As a Florida native, it really is a shame because I'm not from Tampa, but Tampa is a really nice place. Like has just beautiful locations, beautiful scenery, and you could have such a nice ballpark, Tampa, by the bay, waterfront, wherever. And instead, you play in a big white dome, and it has speakers hanging from the roof that interfere. Like I always remember, the ball hits the catwalk, it's a home run. Yeah. So when I'm watching the game, I see the ball just hit something. I'm like, oh, home run, right? Because I'm not seeing what the ball, what exactly it's hitting. I just, ball came down. And I'm like, even when Hechavarria called it, I said, no, that's gone. Like I was almost convinced, like, yeah, that's a home run.
Yeah, I mean,
but of course, I'm watching. I'm down here in Florida, so I'm watching the Rays stream on TV, the Rays channel, and they like know this like the back of their hand. Like, oh no, that's an out. Like he's got it. I'm like, what? What do you mean? But it's just terrible for Clint because the fact he gets sent down.
You think he's sent down? You think he's sent down, Luigi? If that ball goes over the fence?
Probably because I remember Andujar got sent down last summer after having that 3-hit game in Chicago. But yeah, I mean, just terrible. I mean, just the fact that this still happens. I even saw, you even see other fans on Twitter who obviously everyone hates the Yankees, but even saying like, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous because everyone has to deal with this. And every AL East team, whether you're a Red Sox fan, a Blue Jay fan, has a story about their team getting screwed in the Trop.
You don't see this at any other ballpark either. It's just the Trop. There's plenty of other dome stadiums in the major leagues. We only see this at the Trop.
It's just that color of that dome. It's like almost so similar to it's the turf. It's the color of the roof. It's so similar to a baseball. It's hard to see. It's hard to pick up. Oh, what a dump. It's really, that's all I could call it. It's a dump.
How many times have you been there?
I've never been there. I don't go to the Trop.
All right, so I've been to the Trop one time. And it was a game where Ivan Nova blew out his arm and needed Tommy John surgery. And I saw the Rays hit like 11 home runs off of the 3 pitchers the Yankees DFA'd the next day. So it was total brutal. And the stadium, like you said, absolute dump. And I have a question for you, Luigi. So you know how StatCast is a big thing now?
Yes.
According to I saw a couple StatCast geeks on Twitter talk about this. Frazier's ball was projected to go 335 feet. And the foul line for the Rays Stadium is 318 feet. So if they're able to figure out what that ball would have went if there wasn't an obscene object in the way, I wonder why Major League Baseball hasn't took the initiative to incorporate that technology to, instead of having these playground rules where it's like, oh, if it hits the tree in left field, just play it off the tree like I would in like cul-de-sac game. Why couldn't you actually take advantage of the technology you have and implement a rule so the game can be played fair for all? I just don't really understand why something like that at least could be looked at or talked
I feel
about.
like that's something that like would happen in backyard baseball where
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've played plenty of backyard baseball. I know I've had plenty of hits hit off the tree and I get a triple. So, I mean, I totally get that.
The stadiums in backyard baseball are much better than the Trop. I'll tell you that right now. But, Neil Walker, he shouldn't be left off the slander list because that at bat he had where he looked at two fastballs and then a curveball right down the middle. I mean, he should have been DFA'd like when he got back to the dugout.
Should have at least swung for courtesy, like swung after he caught the pitch. At least make an effort to swing.
It's so easy to sound like, just that fan that's not like, oh, well, you're not an athlete and, you're saying it's so easy. But when you see a professional athlete look at 3 pitches down the middle, like, you just have to ask yourself, like, dude, what are you doing up there?
At least Dylan Betances would swing the bat.
Like, oh, my God. Like, it's just like he was almost fooled by, like, that 2-2 curveball. Like, yeah, man, you just looked at 2 fastballs down the middle. Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, did he strike out 2 more times tonight? I'm pretty sure he did. They're bad at bats. Every time he strikes out, I swear he just looks at the umpire like, bro, what the heck? I'm like, dude, you suck. Get off the field.
I mean, with Brandon Drury, they're keeping Drury down because of the whole, if he stays down 20 more days, they get.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, do you think they're just doing that for trade value? Because, I mean, do you really think Drury is going to be with the Yankees long term? Like, I mean, I don't, but.
I mean, yeah. They
just try to make him more attractive.
It's just a smart business thing to do. Like, it's kind of screwed, because Drury probably deserves to be on the team right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at how Bird's playing, look at even Austin. I know Austin had his struggles too, but like Austin played well enough to stay on the squad, and just there's not enough room for everyone. And another guy we're going to talk about later is Greg Bird, because this is we should just call this episode who slander Bird.
Who are we going to talk crap about for the 51-25 Yankees? The 51-25 Yankees, all their cruddy players in one episode.
Yeah, let's not talk about the good. We're talking about the bad. But oh man, another bad thing that happened this past weekend was Gary getting hurt. And look, the moment he pulled up at first, like the moment he started grabbing the corner, I knew it.
Definitely, man. 100%.
Because look, I mean, the guy's been struggling so much at the plate. He can't get it going. You're not just gonna put him on the DL and sit him down, for no reason. But the moment he pulled up, that was their excuse. That was their ticket to say, okay, Gary, you're sitting down for the next week or so. He's going to be out till the All-Star break. I think that's just the perfect time.
There goes his All-Star hopes. We all thought he was going to somehow make the All-Star team.
I think they labeled it average. Yeah, I think they labeled it 3 to 4 weeks, and
so that would put us. Yeah, that puts us well past it. That'd be almost August, man.
3 weeks.
I think they said it's gonna be more towards a later, but we'll see. But yeah, that would definitely put us after the All-Star break.
Well, I mean, with these injuries, look, Tanaka. We didn't think. I mean, Tanaka just threw his first bullpen, I believe, a few days ago. So these injuries, they lag a lot of times. So you don't know how long Gary is going to be out for. You don't know if it's more serious than originally thought, but.
Luigi, what do you think of what Aaron Boone said on Gary Sanchez? Did you see that in the group me?
No.
I can read it. I'll read it to you.
Yeah, read it.
So it's Brian Hoke, the Yankees beat reporter for MLB.com, tweeted this out around 5:30 today. He said, Aaron Boone on Sanchez's DL stint. Maybe it's a time that we make sure he's staying proactive with the conditioning so that when he does come back, he's in the best possible place so that he can be physically sound the rest of the way. Do you think that's a shot fired at Gary's fitness or his conditioning level, or do you think this Boone just awkwardly worded something and we're just interpreting it that way?
It could. Honestly, I was about to say I would lean more towards awkward wording because I think Boone saw how much shit Girardi got last year for kind of throwing Gary under the bus.
Yeah,
in the season. So, but yeah, because I don't think Boone's that type of manager. But hey, who knows? Because I don't know Gary's conditioning or if Gary's a workout freak or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting, but it's definitely going to be a much needed 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's a mental break as much as it'll be a physical break. I think.
Yeah, and look, I'm not a part of the fan base that's saying, hey, thank God Roman's starting out.
Oh my gosh, I can't stand those people, man.
I'm not, but 'cause Romine, let's just say I don't think Romine's going to be a 300 hitter by the All-Star break. If he is, it's good on him, but
he's going to be mid 200. He's going to fall back down to earth 100%, I think. He'll be he'll still have some clutch hit moments here and there, but I definitely think he'll fall to the 250, 260 range by the time Gary comes back.
Yeah. Because, Romine has just been – I mean, Boone, that's something that I give Boone a lot of credit for, that he been talked about a lot, that he challenged Romine at the beginning of the season. So it's like, give him more behind at the plate. And he for sure has. But, to just continue with let's change it up, because we're talking about how bad Chase and Shreve and Neil Walker are at baseball. The Yankees, that guy in the Yankees who's also big, the guy that's not named Judge, he's starting to heat up a lot. And it's something I've said about Stanton, during all those struggles, is that once the summer comes around and once the weather starts heating up, he's going to start heating up. And, man, he's been just ripping ball. I think his second career 5-hit game. It was the first five-hit game for the Yankees, I believe. Since
his fourth 4-hit game. Like, imagine that. He has 4 4-hit games. The rest of the team has 4 of them, so that tells you that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just he got a big 2-run single tonight when it was a 2-1 game and made it 4-1, which turned out to be some big insurance runs, especially with that home run at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
He's has about around an 850 slugging percentage the last 10 games, above a 440 average around that.
Did you watch the whole game today?
I didn't. I watched some of it. I was out doing stuff.
So real quick, I just want to make a comment that I thought was pretty noticeable. I was watching the beginning of the game before you get back to what you're saying. One of the things I think that's definitely helping him is that his first inning at bat against Vincent Velasquez, he drew a walk. But the thing that I found the most interesting was that he was down, I think, either 0-2 or 1-2, and he laid off 2 or 3 pretty tough breaking balls that were down and away, and laid off one of those. Because you know how pitchers like to challenge him high and inside with their heat because of his closed stance and that they don't think he can turn on it. So he laid off all those pitches and took the walk. And I think that in itself is almost more meaningful for me than like all the good hits he's been having, because that tells me that his approach has changed dramatically. And I think that could be one of the reasons why.
Well, we talked about on like the first few episodes that we had during the preseason that Judge and Stanton are going to learn a lot from each other. And I think Stanton sees, because whenever Judge is going through a cold streak, it's not a cold streak, but anytime Judge is cold,
little funk.
Exactly. You'll always notice how he usually gets out of it is he'll start to take walks. He'll start to see pitches. He'll start
Same with Didi after his bad stretch.
Yeah, and I think Stanton's starting to do that a lot more because, and look, Stanton has probably made it a bit easier on himself because he has just chased like every low and outside breaking.
Like the whole world knows that an outside breaking ball is coming, and he still swings at it.
So he's
I can tell you from my couch.
Exactly. Like he's just swung at that pitch so frequently that now it's like, hey, they're going to keep throwing you that pitch for a while. Like just if you lay off that pitch, you're going to have a lot of 2-0, 3-0, 3-1 counts because that's your scouting report now. Throw this guy a low outside breaking ball, and he's probably going to swing. And when you start laying off those pitches, guess what? They're going to have to find a new plan. And yeah, it's just so, because you always talk about how different him and Judge's home runs are. And oh my, I just love watching him hit those line drives because you really never know, because he just has those doubles that literally look like base hits, but then instead of just dropping in front of like the left fielder for a one hop, they just slowly but surely rise over his head. Like
the one he hit the shortstop at the Trop. That was literally just a ground ball up the middle.
You're like, oh, base hit, and then you
see Kevin Kiermaier sprinting to left center because that ball is rolling all the way to the warning track, and it went past.
Has unreal, like unique. It's such like unique power. It's not like your classic thudding power. It's just precise. It's awesome. But yeah, so Giancarlo, I think he's going to just continue this. I'm not saying that he's going to have another 17 homer month like he did last August, but I think that this hot Giancarlo is here to stay, because I'm telling you, I think the weather has a lot to do with it. I mean, there's playing baseball in 40-degree weather, like
for a Miami guy too.
Yeah, for a guy who's from Cali, played in Miami, just he's used to that warm climate. And I know this still cold in September and October, I know. But hey, for now, I think Giancarlo is going to continue to be the MVP Giancarlo that we all hope we were getting. And but now let's move on.
Back to slander.
Yeah, we're about to slander someone else. Greg Bird is 1 for his last 18.
Bird is not the word, Luigi.
Has a 393 slugging percentage. Also, literally, it seems like, is it just me or because Greg Bird just up in every big situation?
Yeah, he is.
It's like, all right, here's where Bird.
And whenever he's up, you're just like, oh crap, what's he gonna do to mess up this time? He's like, I know our admin editor Andrew who texted in our Bronx Bomber Ball group chat. He said Bird about to K here, and then he hits into a double play. Yeah. I think anyone in our chat could have outrun that ball except for Greg Bird.
Oh,
the ball's hit so slow.
I think we saw in the playoffs last year how slow Greg Bird is. He's just like usually the catcher on like probably like 80-90% of teams, like the catcher is usually the slowest guy.
Oh no, right? Gary Romine can 100%.
Yeah, but like I truly believe if there's like you had like a sprint just to first around the base or whatever, that Bird would be the slowest guy on the team. Maybe he would outrun like CC if you had like.
I don't know, man. You put some food at the finish line. I bet CC could beat Bird.
Man. Captain Crunch. Yeah, I mean, just like because there's so many like. It's crazy. I think my least favorite part of the Yankee Twitter are the people that just love Greg Bird. And the people that like, look, I'm not gonna like chastise you for loving Greg Bird because he's had he has a lot of potential. He still has a lot of time to be great. Mm-hmm. But right now he's just brutal. And I mean, he just has not showed anything this year because look, last year, if you want to pin his struggles on, the fact that he was hurt. And the fact, hey, when he came back in the postseason, he was a lot better. Fine. I agree with all that. But, I mean, even this year, when he just came back and was batting third, like, I was just never in, like, the party of, like, oh, yeah, Greg Bird's, like, the 3-hitter for this team. Like, he's just not that good. I mean.
Just doesn't have that flair, man. Like, when Judge and Stanton get up, like, even when Judge or Stanton are struggling, like, there's a big chance they can come through here. When Bird comes up, you just don't have that. It's almost like I almost want to not watch the TV just because of how much he's been struggling.
And I mean, look, I get that, like, you're a lefty, you're going to struggle against lefties, but you got to give me more than 1 for 21 versus lefties on the year. Like, that's just brutal. It's just not major league hitting. And like, because look, it's coming to the point where it's like, all right, he's been back for around a month now. He's still hitting under 200, like 393 slugging, 685 OPS. He hasn't been good. So, I know Brandon Drury doesn't have a lot of experience at first. Tyler Austin's still down there. I mean,
hey, at this point, Luigi, would you rather have Drury and Austin up here than Bird?
I mean, at this point,
it's
a tough decision because I do value having an actual first baseman. Like Bird isn't a great defensive first baseman, but he's
legitimately
good.
He's
legitimate. Obviously much better defensive first baseman than Austin, and clearly Drury, who just
because he's never played.
Yeah. So I still think that's why he's just going to remain first baseman because that's literally the actual one first baseman the Yanks have besides Austin.
Mm-hmm. And, they got Mike Ford down there in AAA. He almost made the Mariners out of spring training, but
is G-Man Choi still available?
No, actually, pretty sure he hit a grand slam for the Brewers this year, and they DFA'd him the next day.
I was about to say I saw that he hit like a big time grand slam, and
it's like, oh, see him, G-Man. Sorry.
We're sorry, G-Man. Let's talk about the game tonight real quick because enough of talking about who's bad and who's good because this team is 26 games above 500, so we should be happy with that. And the Yankees
stop complaining, guys.
The Yankees started off the series with the Phillies with a win, a 4-2 victory.
Win with a side of pasta.
Yeah, Johnny Lasagna was just dealing tonight. He had it going. Just through 5 no-hit innings, only allowed 1 hit, no runs. I mean, just the
kid's legit, man.
The Cash made the Mariano comparison. Like, I don't really see that. Like, I think that was just like I'm not sure what he was talking about exactly. Like what he saw in him that made him say Mariano. You probably want to get the headline because we're talking about him right now. But yeah, the kid just has really good stuff. I mean, I really enjoy watching him pitch. Just really, I mean, I know it's such like an overrated thing, is like the whole like no hitter thing. It seems like how many young pitchers are like through 5 no hit innings, but
Yeah, but they weren't. It wasn't just no hit innings though. They had no chance. Herrera's helmet flew off every single swing against him. He took 3 straight breaking balls, and the man pulled his head out, and his helmet flew off every single swing. Like, there was no chance. He just had so much poise and just looked so confident on the mound tonight against the Phillies lineup. That's not bad by any means. They have some solid sluggers.
The Phillies have been a very good team this year. They're right in the thick of the NL East. But yeah, I mean, 5 1/3, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, only 86 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
It's already his second win. Sure, he got 2 wins. He sure got his wins faster than Herman, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could see him possibly sticking in the rotation if Herman has another clunker, and then Loaiziga comes back and pitches another outing like this. I could honestly see the Yankees putting Herman in the bullpen and letting our boy Johnny Lasagna get maybe a long-term look as the Yankees' 5th starter.
Yeah, I mean, he's for sure earned it through 3 starts. He wasn't great against Seattle, obviously.
His debut was awesome though, and tonight was too.
Mm-hmm. But
Seattle had the best offense in the league, other than
big. Going to be on the short league, obviously, and only his 2nd start. And later on, he's probably able to work out of that Seattle start. But
yeah,
obviously they pulled early. But other notes from tonight's game, like I mentioned earlier, Stanton, big 2-run single. Gleyber Torres with probably his most peculiar hit has a.
Yeah, everyone was fighting for me, man. I thought it was a good piece of hitting. Everyone said it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's tough to define. Like, there's a difference between like good piece of hitting and then just like
I was more talking about like
protecting the plate.
I mean, I definitely agree. It was a good piece of hitting by, like you said, protected the plate, and he took it to where it was pitched. He didn't try to like golf it into left field and then popped up to the pitcher or third base. He like went with the pitch and just protected the plate. So yeah, I agree with you in that stance.
Judge went deep.
That was a laser. That was like a Stan homer. Like you were talking about his homer in Tropicana the other night, that he just line drived it out. That was like the same exact kind of home run, just in a blink of an eye out.
Yeah. So like I also mentioned earlier, Chapman comes in the 8th inning to get out of a jam, which he does because Betances couldn't get out of it. It was Betances' 2nd inning though, and I know he only got 1 out in the.
Well, that's the thing though. I think it's for Betances. I think it's more that just him going in and out is kind of what may mess with him. I don't know if it's mental or it's just like routine, but I think that's more it than the workload, because he's had innings where he's gone like 30 pitches before because he's had to work around some, jams. So I think that's more it, just the going in and coming back out more so than the number of pitches or like the number of innings.
Yeah, there's another guy that just, we've just been amazed by, and how he's just completely turned back into all-star Betances, and the guy that we're more so familiar with, Yips Betances, that we saw during the playoffs last year and for a lot of last year. But yeah, so tomorrow night the Yankees obviously are back at it against the Phillies, and it's a matchup of one ace and one former ace. Luis Severino gets the ball for the Yanks, and Jake Arrieta will be on the mound for the Phillies. So should be a good matchup,
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it.
Arrieta is, could be good for a good old gem. You never know. But, this weekend, that team against Boston, it's Yankees, Red Sox.
Yeah, Price and Sevy, Sunday Night Baseball. Wow, that's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a big series.
He's got a ball the Fortnite controller.
Yeah, right. He's supposed to start I love how they announced like a few days everything's on schedule for David Price.
Like they had to make it like a headline. The man's just making a scheduled start. Why is it gonna be a big thing?
The rotation. Why are you?
It's like red alert. David Price will pitch against the Yankees.
Yeah, once every 4 or 5 days, the pitcher starts. That's what happens in baseball. Yeah. But yeah, I just want to we're gonna probably have another pod later in the week before that series and talk about it more. But yeah, it's always nice to mention that the Red Sox are on the horizon, because it's been a while since we've played the Red Sox. I believe was it early May, mid-May the last time the Yankees and Red Sox played.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, it's it's not just like Philly. They still got the 2 games against Philly, who are a very good team, and then after Boston, they played the Braves, and I don't know how much our listeners follow the rest of the league, but the Braves of this year kind of remind me a bit of the Yankees kind of last year.
I agree. They're peaking a year early.
A lot of young guys, a lot of exciting prospects. I'm not going to say, oh, well, these prospects are better or worse. But very exciting team. And yeah, like you said, a team that's a year ahead of schedule, to say the least. And a team that, they're right in the thick of, just like the Phillies, just like the Nationals, they're right in the thick of the NL East. So, poor Mets.
Poor Mets, never said no one ever.
Like really, because we love to trash the Mets, but like, damn, the Mets really didn't expect the Phillies and the Braves to both be like pretty good. Like that really just spoiled.
Did you see their starting lineup today?
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, it's absolutely terrible. I'll pull it up real quick. I think we had Dominic Smith hitting fifth. Like the man.
Brandon Nemo's like their one. Like
he wasn't in there. He wasn't in there.
He's not in the lineup. I was gonna say he
got hit by a pitch in the hand.
He's been a pretty good story for him. I like how I am someone who likes how he just sprints out of the box at every.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that too.
Like I like how he does that. I wish more guys did that.
All right, here we go. I got this Mets lineup for you. Let's see.
Here we go.
Let me tell you guys, this is a pretty intimidating lineup, so don't get too scared. Well, leading off, we had Michael Conforto, the next Aaron Judge.
Okay, dude's hitting like 220.
We got Joey Bats hitting in the 2 spot.
Okay.
I got Asdrubal Cabrera, who is probably on steroids, hitting 3rd. Dominic Smith in the 4 spot. Oh. Devin Mesoraco, the man who Matt Harvey was compared to because they were traded for one another, so they have to be similar, you would think. You got Jose Reyes, Kevin Plawecki, some guy I've never heard of hitting 172, Gilmore. I don't even know. And then Seth Lugo, so not a good lineup in the slightest.
Well, you saw David Wright was actually taking some BP today.
Yeah, this is kind of a random question because I know it's not a Mets podcast, but this is just more of a baseball question. Where do you think he would play if he were to somehow make a comeback? Because you got Todd entrenched at 3rd. Do you think you could maybe see him at 1st? I have no idea. Like he's your franchise player. You can't just sit him on the bench. I know he hasn't played in 3 years, but
man, that's a rabbit hole. Because you probably would play him at 1st because just he's probably. His body's probably in shambles as it is if he's even playing. So first base is just going to require a lot less athleticism than third base. So, I would say probably play 1st. But, yeah, that's I think that's really all we got for the podcast. I hate to end it talking about the Mets, but, Mets suck. And
we just have to continue our trend of trashing either players or teams.
Absolutely.
What better way to end up talking trash and talking about the Mets?
Yeah. It was a good win tonight for the Yankees. They snapped their season. It was their season-long 3-game skid.
Yeah, I think it's terrible. Cancel the season.
Yeah, I believe that was the first time they got swept all year.
Yep. Longest streak since I think it was the 50s. They said. I think 1954.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's tough to be 2 down even after getting swept by the Rays. The bullpen Rays, as I like to call them. But the Yankees, they're doing well. They're on to Philly. Then they're going to be back in the Bronx against the Red Sox, and we're going to be here for it, potting about it, talking about it. So for Luigi, for Ryan, this is the BBB podcast, and we'll catch you next time.